Hello and welcome to Knit All the Yarn podcast. My name is Lisa and I live in Michigan with my husband and my kiddos. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at 72 Stitches. And this is episode, looking at my notes, 194? Yeah, 194. This is my YouTube channel where I share my knitting, crocheting, cross stitch, whatever crafty thing I'm up to. And today is Friday, March 3rd, 2023. I got my coffee and my scrappy knitting queen. Pumpkin spice creamer. I opened my last bottle of pumpkin spice creamer. Oh, dear. It's okay. I'm not worried about not having it year-round because then I would get used to it and I would probably start to hate it if I had it every day. So it's okay. It usually comes back in like July, so that's only what, like six months away, something like that. I'm wearing my penguino. The penguino came back. I wore my garter marler pullover last week and I felt really weird because I wasn't wearing, this is my uniform for the winter. Yes, okay, I have one finished object and 5 whips. Yeah, that's right, I said 5. 5. I cast on 4 things this week. What? That's not me. So last week I had like an off week. This week hasn't been any better, so how I am coping with it is just casting on all the things. And hopefully future Lisa will not get too overwhelmed and stressed out when she has all of these whips. What do I say in the top before I get started? My knit along has started. It's over in my Ravelry group. That will be linked down below. It's Knit All the West Knits. Knit any Stephen West pattern. Any. And there's a chatter thread open and an FO thread. I looked at it last night and there's 2 FOs in there already. What was it? I forgot who it was, but it was the Dustlin leg warmers and a Dustlin hat. So you can do the small projects. You don't have to do a big shawl unless you want. I will show you in my whips what I cast on for this cal. I am not eligible for prizes. That's okay. I want to participate. And I'm just gonna do pattern prizes. I'm gonna, depending on the numbers in the group, I will dictate how many patterns I will give away. Maybe 2 from the chatter thread and 3 from the FO or something like that. Also, whips do count or are allowed in that cal. So if you have the mystery M cal still on your needles, hopefully this is motivation to get you to finish it. It started March 1st. It ends May 31st. And if I missed anything, you can ask me a question down here or look in my Ravelry group. I have all the rules over there. I will have all the show notes right down there about everything I talked about today. Links to patterns, bags, yarns, where you can find me. I'm most active on Instagram. Reading and watching will be down there, and all the whips, and all the yarn, and all the FOs. My Freckled Whimsy Yarn of the Month clubs for March, came in yesterday. I will not be showing those today since I just got them. I don't want to spoil anybody, but I will show them next week. I love them. So yeah, that is the only yarn that came into my house. Last month I got 2. This month I got 2. So far, I mean, this month just started, but so far, so good. It's the 3rd. Okay, let's get a move on here. Ready for finished objects? I only got 1. Look at these. Oh, I'm so jealous. But not really. I'm not jealous because I have enough yarn to make myself some. But I'm jealous that you have yours first, I guess. So this is Freckled Whimsy. This is her Spells and Things club from, I want to say last year. October. I think I wrote it down. Did I write it down? Yes, this was the October 2022 colorway. Polyjuice Potion. So I decided to do the cuff and toes in the mini for both of them. And I do not have enough to do heels on mine. That's okay. I was just doing an experiment. I think I had 7 grams left or 8. And I think it takes just 8 grams, but I didn't want to risk it. So what I did was I took 5 grams out of this color and this color, and I put them in my Cozy Memories blanket, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I still have like a little bit left, but I can do full stripes. I have enough yarn to do full stripes. Or if, I get wild and crazy, I can just pop in something else for the heels and or toes. So I did these magic loop cuff down. I did for her socks. These are for Amy. Happy little yarn. I did 15 rows of 2x2 red for her socks. I think I did like 15 or 16 rows of leg. Did an afterthought heel. I used US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter. And yep, so this was a sock set. Oh, I love these. I'm not a big pink person, but I really love these. These are going to be part of her birthday present. And that's all of my finished objects. That's it. Should we do stash stats? Grams down. I forgot to do that before I started my FOs, but we're going to start now because I only had one. Okay. Drum roll. I did so much better this month. So those socks that I just showed you were 48 grams. I'll show you here and see if I can read this backwards. Probably not. So I added 240. I used 1,098. So I finished how many things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've had 7 FOs in February. Tape's coming off. My pants. Let's see. I had my pants. No, I didn't. Not my pants. My cowl. My Star Wars cowl. My shawl. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of socks. 2 DK. 2 regular with fingering weight, and then 1 pair of shorties. So that is pretty good. Let's see, I think I'm still, since I added 240 grams yesterday, I'm still in the positive. Before that yarn came, I think I was positive 190 grams. So now I'm positive whatever math that is. So I'm still in the positive, but it's not like in the thousands. I think it was like in the 1,000 at one point. So yeah, I'm getting there. The stash, the grams down is, it's going. It's very hard not to buy yarn. It's very hard. Especially like this past 2 weeks, it's like I just want to buy yarn. I just want to buy stuff. I've been a little stressed. But I'm hanging in there. Knitting. Knitting helps a ton. Okay. That is my finished objects. That is my grams down, grams out, whatever you want to call it. I guess we will start with whips. Works in progress. This is a very, very, very old bag from Freckled Whimsy. Freckled Whimsy used to make bags back in the day. It's probably This is probably like one of my first project bags. Maybe 2000, I don't know, when did I start knitting? I think I started like hardcore, like knitting stuff other than dishcloths. Probably like 2017? 16? I think it might have been 2016, and then 2017 is when everybody was like making socks, and I'm like, I want to do that. And look where I am. So yeah, somewhere probably 16 or 17 is when I bought this. So it is March 3rd, so I have started my Desert Vista Dyework socks for March. And I picked Lisa Frank. Oh, this color. I kind of don't want to show it because you can't, I looked for it and I couldn't find it in her shop. She has colorways that they're up for like a month and then she takes them down, and I have no idea when I bought this. If it was May or like June. I feel like it was in the summertime, but I don't know. So I guess keep checking. All right, you ready? Look at this. So I was here yesterday. So from here to here, I finished the sock. And I have a plan with the mini. So it comes with the mini. Black and white mini. And this is 20 grams, and I will not have enough to do heels and toes. Yes, heels and toes. I'm doing shorty pairs, so I have to do 2 pairs for the knit along. 20 grams is not enough to do 4 heels and 4 toes. It's not enough. So I'm like, well, I can put heels and toes in my friend's socks, and then I'll do stripes with mine. But I'm like, hey, I want to use this many in my socks. So I'm gonna go a little crazy. We're just gonna try and see how it works. So for this sock, the heel is gonna go right down here, and I'm gonna use the stripe yarn for the heel in the sock. And the second sock, which I have right here, this one, the heel is gonna be in this color. So we'll have 1 toe and 1 heel in this mini for each pair of socks. Does that make sense? I thought we'd go crazy. Now so I ended this when I needed to. I did my toe, and I realized that I ended with orange, and I cast on in between the color change right at this pink. So I'm like, okay, cool, they're gonna match. And then I was knitting this, I'm like, they're gonna kind of match, because when I get to the toe, I'm just gonna keep going. And so the heels, I don't know if I can get both the heel and the toe to match, or I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm thinking too hard about this. I know I am. I know Amy doesn't care at all. So if you're curious about my markers, I will link a video down below. I'm taking them off this sock and I'm putting them on this sock, so they match. So yeah. Yep, so from Friday Thursday, I was here. So I finished from here to here on Thursday, and then I started this. I worked on these all day yesterday. I did my squares in my blanket, and I said, that's it. Since I have to do 2 pairs of shorties, I really want to get these. And I love working on them. I mean, look at this. Look at these colors. Oh, so fun. So, socks. 64 stitches. Chiagoo red lace. 2.5 millimeters, which is a US 1.5. 64 stitches, I think I said that already. 15 rows of 2x2 rib. It's the same for all of my socks. The cuff might be different. If it's 15 rows, they're probably for Amy. If it's 12, it's for me or my mom. All right, that is it for that. Whip. Whip number 2 is also a new whip. Bags by Awesome Granny. This is my scrappy bag. Now I finished these socks. I don't remember, was it Monday? No, it was Sunday. I finished these Sunday and I'm like, I have like 2 days with no socks on the needles before Desert Vista dye work starts, and I'm like, we're just gonna cast on some scrappy socks. So these, I probably will not work on them. Since I have a lot of whips, some of them might be set aside for a little bit and come back later, because there's no way that I'll be able to work on all of these for the whole week. So we'll see. But I'll show you what I have, and if I touch them this week, I will show you. If I don't, then I won't. So here we got them in tandem. I like to do my scrappy socks in tandem. So here we go. These are Chiagoo red lace needles, same thing, 2.5 millimeter. I do my socks magic loop, and 64 stitches. These are gonna be for me. I'm doing these for the easy peasy scrappy sock cow. I know last year I did like 5 or 6 pairs. I might only do 2 pairs this year, just because I have a lot of other things I want to work on. But I have till March 31st to finish these. I feel like I can. Once I finish my Desert Vista dye work socks, I'll probably pick these up again. I just won't be casting any other socks on until these are done. Yep, so I'm using I got some in here. These are my my advent calendar, my opal advent calendar from Purple Circle Yarn Co. I don't have a tag. I think I threw it out when I got the advent a long time ago. Actually, no, the tag was taped on a piece of like chocolate, like a chocolate bar, and I ate it and I just threw it in the trash. So anyway, I will have them linked down below. So this was the opal advent from last year. And I took the time, like, I don't know, probably I knew this cal was coming up, so I think I took like a week or 2 to just wind a couple minis each day, hand by hand. Because, you know, I was just too lazy to get my ball winder out. And once I get my ball winder out and everything, I'm going to be down there. I'm just going to do them all, and I'd be down there for like 4 hours, 5 hours. So I just wound them in by hand. Little gobstopper balls, because I'm fancy. I also took 5 grams off of each of these to put in my blanket. So now these are for just scrappy things. I'm gonna make socks, and then maybe I'll probably make a muscle burra hat at some point. I know there was somebody that did a scrappy muscle burra hat cal last year, and I made 2 hats, so I might wait and see if they do that again, and then I'll do that. But those are my scrappy socks. I'm just picking a color and doing a little bit until I get bored and changing it. I think so far each one has two colors in it so far. So just winging it. So that is that. All right, whip number 3. I gotta move, my legs are falling asleep. Another new whip. Yeah, I think they're all new whips until I get to my last one. So this is whip number 3. This is also Bags by Awesome Granny. I've been wanting to do this for like a really long time, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. We're just gonna do it. You're always waiting for the perfect time, and there's never a perfect time, so just do it. So I'm using some of my Felici. This is the Secret Garden color. I got this in summer of 2022. I like to write down when I get these Felicis. Felici is from Knitpicks if you're new, and I'm obsessed with it. And they come out with colorways usually June and November. So only twice a year. So if there's a color you want, you better get it because it won't last forever. Once in a while they'll bring a colorway back, but don't what's the words? Don't hope for it. I don't, that's probably not right. Okay. So Felici. Muscle burra. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So I did something different with this. I'm so proud of myself. And thank you to, oh no, is her name Lindsay? I don't know if her name's Lindsay. I know she's Lazy Lemon on Instagram. I think her name's Lindsay. I'm sorry. I know you watch. Am I right? I hope so. So she also likes the Muscle Burra hats, but hates the cast on. The dreaded cast on, the pinhole cast on, the crochet cast on, whatever, you name it. Double points, magic loop. I used to do my magic loop. But she came up with, I don't know if she came up with the idea or she just tried it. I think she just tried it. I'm sure other people has done it this way. So since I have made a couple muscle burras in the past, I know what my stitch count is for, I know my gauge for my needle. I'm using US 3s. And I'm doing the adult medium. So since I already know that, if you have never made one of these before, I don't suggest doing it this way. You can try it if you want. So since I know what size I want to make and I know my gauge, I just cast on that many stitches. I'm not going to give it away because it's a paid for pattern, but it's an awesome pattern. So I did a provisional cast on with a crochet, the crochet chain one. Yes, crochet chain. Chain my stitches and I knit, I think I started here. I knit like a whole sequence color stripe from the from the inside of the ball. Cast on from the inside of the ball, since I'm using self-striping. If you're doing a solid color, this doesn't matter. But so I knit a full sequence so I could figure out so the sequence can go in order here. As you can see, it goes in order from the top. So I did the full sequence of colors. Then I left my 16-inch circular needle in here. I did not take it out. I took a US 3 32-inch cord to do magic loop. I unpicked my provisional cast on. She recommended doing 2 rows before your provisional cast on, which worked out great because I actually cast on like a couple rows of this lime greeny color. So it picked up right at that color stripe. It just worked out that way. So I did that way. I did not have any problems with the provisional cast on. The picking of the stitches up, they were not twisted. I don't know. I always had a hard time with that. And then all of a sudden, with my Star Wars cowl, I didn't have any problems. I don't know. Maybe it was all in my head. Anyway, so then I picked up the stitches and I did my decrease on magic loop. And then I finished it. So I followed the pattern for the decreases. Bam. So now this is a pattern where it's just a long tube and then it folds in on itself if you are new. So I'm just gonna knit the full tube and I'm gonna do the decrease at the bottom. So I'm essentially doing 2 decreases. Now I don't know if doing it that way might be a pain for you, but that cast on kept me from doing these hats. I mean, at this point, it's like I love this hat because now it's just mindless knitting around and around and around. And so it might be a little tedious, but I found it a whole lot easier than starting with whatever 8 stitches. And I don't have to do make ones. or make one lefts, make one rights. So I forgot to mention, when I picked up my provisional cast on, I started with this lime green. And when I started from the lime green, I did it from the outside of the ball. And it just worked out where I just had to cut out like one color. And then, so when you're working from the outside of the ball, it goes in the reverse order. So then it goes in order this way. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. So we have light blue, pink, green, light blue, lime blue, blue, green. Then it goes back to light blue and pink. So you can see that it goes in order. So it looks like I started here, but I didn't. So if any of that did not make sense, you can comment down below. I do not have a video for this. I just did a provisional cast on that I probably used. I used very pink knits, and yeah, that's how I did it. And I picked up my stitches below the provisional. I didn't unpick it as I went and picked up the stitches. I just picked up all the stitches and then took my provisional cast out, and I had to unwind like 2 rows, and then I was ready to go. I think I did knit 1 row to place my markers for my decreases. I just placed 2 because I do magic loop, and then I followed the pattern. So yep, that's my muscle bear hat. I love this. I really love this color. I wish I got 2 more balls of this because I was really torn. I'm like, socks, hats, socks, hats. So I decided to go with hat. Oh, my foot's really falling asleep. So I got a stitch marker. I got a hat stitch marker. This is from Twin Mountain Handcrafts. She had a set of the monster. It was the monster cal. Excuse me. The monster cal. And she still has them up in her shop, so. There's a set of 5. And I figured, since it's a hat, we're going to use a hat stitch marker. And this marker is where I started my decreases so that I can measure it. And I'm going to be using 2 balls of Felici. Also, one of them is a lot more saturated than the other, so I'm not sure how it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to use 80. I don't know if I want to use all of the both balls, because I think I make mine about like from the center, not the crowns. I think I do it to 19 inches. So I guess we'll just wait and see. So there might be some color variations, but I'm hoping that once you like tuck it in itself, it won't be as noticeable. We'll see. All right, that is that whip. All right, and my next new whip, my last new whip. This is Knit for Brains on Etsy. This is my Stephen West pattern, my garter marler cardigan. So last week I showed the pullover version. I was wearing it, and that pattern came out. I'm like, I want to make this, and I did it, and then I didn't wear it, and then I made this, and I'm like, I love this. So I think I'm a cardigan girl. We'll see. We'll see how much I wear this. This probably, by the time I finish this, it's going to be hot. So maybe next winter I'll rotate between this and this, so you won't see this all day, every day for like the past 6 months. So here's what I have. I got my collar done, and that's it. So I am making the 4th size. I like hem and hawed between sizes. The 2nd size would be too tight. I think it was a 40, I think last time I measured my bust is between like 39 and 40. So there's a 41 and I'm like, that's probably too tight. So the next size up is 45 and I'm like, well, maybe. And then there was a 47 and I'm like, I like this. This has got lots of ease. I don't like tight things on my body. So I'm like, well, let's go with the 47. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But I decided I'd rather have it way too big than way too small. Famous last words. I'm sure we'll see what happens when I wear it and wash it. It might grow some. So we'll see. If I absolutely cannot stand how big it is, I could shrink it in the dryer, or I could just live with it. It'll just be like a robe instead of like a cardigan. So for the collar, the cuffs, and the hem, I'm using Knitpicks Stroll, Dove Heather, and Ash. I went through my stash and I have tons of Dove Heather, as you can see right here. And I took 4 balls out to put in my bag here. Or 2 balls. Yes. I took 2 balls of each. Yes, and I did 2 rows of, not 2 rows, 2 inches. This is 2 inches. It seems bigger, but I measured it. It's 2 inches. The pattern, I think I'm gonna skip the buttons. Or I'll sew buttons on, but I'm not gonna button it, so I don't think I'm gonna do buttons or buttonholes. I like to just, well, this thing is big, so I have lots of fabric to just wrap myself up with. So I'm hoping this will have me maybe 6 or 7 inches of positive ease if I do the 47. No, it's 7 or 8. 7 or 8. I think I'll be okay. So yep, I just got my collar done. Doing the 4th size. I used 6s for the ribbing, and then I changed to 7s. I was smart, and after I finished my cuff, or my collar here, I automatically changed my needles, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to pick this up again, and I did not want to just keep going with 6s. I got it on a 40-inch-ish cord. I'm using my Chiagoo's interchangeable needles. Yeah. So now I have to do my short rows, and then my yoke, and then after that I think it's like, it's just straight knitting all the way. Yeah. So the body of this is knit. I think the sleeves you have to knit a row, purl a row to get the garter, but I don't think that's gonna bother me. I did the whole garter marler pullover like that because it was in the round. You had to purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, and it didn't bother me, so. But I'm excited for that. Oh, and I'm using Knitpicks Felici scraps for the whole body and the arms. I forgot to mention that. So, oh, I got it right here. So I dug through all of my scraps of my Felici. Oh my word. Look at this thing. This is like a pillow. This is like a pillow. I made my garter marler pullover, and this thing was like, it was gone. And then I just went around my room up here and I kept finding it. I do have a lot of single balls in here. Single balls. So I'm gonna work on this and my single colors of my older ones before I touch these. These are all the new colors from the past year or 2. So I'm gonna focus on using this before I start pulling from that. If I need to, I will pull from that, but I don't know. don't know. Can I get a whole sweater out of this? I have no idea how big this... I have no idea what this bag is either, because I bought this a long, long time ago, and there's no tag in here whatsoever. I bought it on Etsy, but I just love that fabric. Those little yarn balls. So yeah, this is my Felici pillow. I'm not going to open it because it might explode on me. Look, it's kind of... it's tight. So Knitpicks Felici is in here. That is like, it feels like 3 pounds of yarn. All right, that is up. I got one more whip. It's my cozy memories. Blanket. I should have done today's squares yesterday. I have some adulting to do today. Talk about the hair and life stuff just a minute. So I did 56 squares in February. 2 a day. I did it. I'm trying to do 2 squares a day until this thing is done, which should be in August. I'm going to do 500 squares. I don't know where I'm at. I think I'm at 170. Yes, I have 170. Yes, 170 squares done right now, and I want to do 500, so you can do the math. So here was Friday's squares. Saturday. Sunday. This one is a Jinx yarn. A Rick and Morty one. Oh, that one's precious. This one's a Star Wars one from Mustache Yarn. I forgot what day I was on. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So here was, excuse me, this color. I just decided I wanted them right next to each other, so I just popped them both in there. Wednesday, and then yesterday, Thursdays. This marker is marking my March 1st one, so I can see how many I do in March. If I do 2 a day, that's almost 31 plus 31. Is that right? No, 31 times 2. That's right. I can't math. Is that 62? I think that's 62 squares. I am not a math expert whatsoever. So if I do 2 squares a day, that should be 62 squares for this month. I have 5 more left for this row. And then I have 1 more row and I'll have 200 squares. I'm doing 25 crossed this way, squares across. And I'm going to do 20 rows up. This is the Coziest Memories by Kemper Ray. It's a free pattern. I'm using US 2s, 2.75. Yep. Signature straight needles, 8-inch midi tips. Here's the back. I have been weaving in my ends as I go. It's beautiful. Absolutely love it. My squares are 20 stitches by 20 stitches. 20 by 20. And they're about 2.5 inches. I don't think I mentioned that. I think I measured a couple. They're about 2.5 inches width and length, or whatever you want to call it. So that's how big they are. And this is all fingering weight scraps. Yep. The only yarn that I'm not putting in here is like Patton's Croy, because that's really thick, and Felici. I don't put Felici in here just because I like to use Felici in scrappy stuff. So some of this yarn is like swaps, minis that I buy, row 1 minis, advent calendars, and some are like socks that I've made, like this one. I have socks in this one, socks in this one, socks in this one, socks in this one. So there is some that are from projects. Oh, screenshot. Probably not. I know how, if YouTube like gives me like ones that with just me making weird faces and not holding any knitting up, I will go through and make my own screenshot. I don't like to just because, you know, it takes more time. It's not difficult, but you know, I'm lazy and I just want to knit. I don't want to do technical stuff. Okay. That is all my whips. That's all the knitting. So if you are not here for the chit chat, oh, 40 minutes. I had a feeling this was going to be a long one. If you're not here for the chit chat or the reading and watching, I will see you next week. If you're still here knitting away, I will continue to chat. Ramble. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Okay, watching. Okay, my husband and I finished Wandavision season 1. You're probably gonna hate me, but I'm not fond of the Marvel stuff, the superhero movies. I knew that's what this was, and when I started it, I just thought I'd try it. I didn't care for it. So it is what it is. So we finished that, and we started Mandolorian season 2. I absolutely love it. The child, he is my favorite. He cracks me up. I tell my husband, like, before we start, I'm like, what is he gonna eat today? Last night I said, I bet it's a cheeseburger. And then it was a macaroon or macaron or however you want to say that. And I'm like, well, that's close. It was a circle shape. I love it. That show is so good. So yeah, we're watching that now. I think we're like half done with season 2. I think we watched episode 4 last night. So we're probably half. I have no idea how many episodes there is. 9, 8, something like that. What else? On my own, I'm watching Supernatural season 2. I'm like 10 episodes in. Somewhere in the middle, maybe. There are seasons. There's like 22 episodes per season, so maybe almost half done. I am rewatching that. I've watched it all the way through. There was a long time where I took like a pause because I watched like maybe 8 seasons with my husband, and then my husband's like, I can't do this anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So then I was like, I couldn't find time to watch it on my own, or it's back when we had discs from Netflix and it just didn't work out where I could have one. I don't know. There was a long break where I didn't watch it. And then it came on streaming, and then I was like, oh yeah. And then I knew it was ending. So like the last 2 seasons, I waited a long time because I didn't want it to end. But you know what? You can just start over. You end it and just go right back. I think I'll watch this probably more than once in my lifetime. I love it so much. Good stuff. And for Disney animated movies, my brain just I watched Bambi, Cinderella, and Peter Pan. All good. Love them. There are some, some of them don't age well. I guess I'll just say that. There is some, like, moments where you're like, ooh, shouldn't have done that. That's not good. That's not good. But, you know, I guess that's how the world, I mean, I guess it's good to see that we are, I mean, it's a really slow change, but we are trying to get better about, you know, different cultures and racism and all of that. I mean, we're not there, but I feel like from seeing those movies from like the 1950s from now, I feel like we're getting better. So that's good. Yeah, that's it for watching. Reading. I have been like in a reading slump. I read before I go to bed, and that is it. So I read like, I think both of these books, I have them on my Kindle. I'm pretty sure that the loan has ended, so I'm just not turning my Wi-Fi on so I can keep them a little longer. That's a secret. It's probably not a secret. Everybody knows that by now, but if you get books from the Kindle from your library, and if they expire and you can't renew them, just don't turn your Wi-Fi on and you can have those forever. So, The Caterpillar Summer, that's the one I'm reading with my kids. Their school is doing everybody's reading the same book. I don't know, is it book club? I don't know what you want to call it. So you have to read a chapter a night for like pretty much all of March and then some of February. So I've been reading a chapter every night, and then if the chapter is really short, I'll read The Invisible Library. Yes, The Invisible Library. So I'll read a little bit of that until I get sleepy. Because some of those chapters are really short. They should have like read like 2 or 3 chapters a night instead of just one, because it's only 2 pages. That's okay. So that's what I'm reading. I haven't downloaded any audiobooks. I, watch either Supernatural or a Disney movie in the morning, and then I watch my knitting podcasts, YouTube podcasts in the afternoon, and I don't listen to any books. I don't know, it's okay. It's okay to take a break. There was like 3 or 4 years in a stretch where I read like 100 books a year. I think I'm just taking a break. It's okay. I guess I've lost my reading mojo. I think that's what people call it, but I'm not upset. I'm just gonna, when it comes back, it'll come back. All right, looking at my show notes, I talked about my Grams in and out. I talked about my Cal. All right, that's it. So we will do some chitty chatty life stuff. So we have I guess we'll talk about weather first. We are under a winter storm warning from 2 p.m. today until 4 a.m. Saturday. 6 to 10 inches of snow. We have absolutely no snow on the ground right now. Absolutely none. So if I remember today, before 2 o'clock, to take a picture, maybe on Instagram, I'll do a before and after. Either on my stories, probably in my stories. Mostly to text it to my mom, because they've been getting so much snow, and they're getting like 2 to 5 inches. So we're getting more of it, but yeah, they have so much snow. And they're like, you don't have any? And I'm like, and we live like about an hour away from each other. She lives an hour north of me. So we were supposed to go to my parents' tomorrow, but I think that's going to be a bad idea. If we get around 10 inches, it's going to take us like 3 hours to get out of our driveway. And the freeways might be all right, but I'm not gonna. It's just to visit, and it's an hour away from here. If it was 20 minutes, I probably would have said, yeah, we'll come over. It might just be a little later. But when it's like an hour, I'm not gonna chance it. And she was fine with that. So we're gonna go next weekend. So we're gonna chill this weekend. I'm sure my husband will want to take the kids sledding one last time, because I think they've only went once this winter. Once. we get a bunch of snow, it melts. We get a bunch of snow, it melts. And by time, sometimes we get a bunch of snow and it melts before the weekend and they can't go. So it's like, so yeah, probably gonna do that. I'm gonna chill and knit. I don't do sledding. I would say I'm too old for sledding, but some people are like, you're never too old. My body says I'm too old for sledding. Okay. I don't wanna, you know, sometimes I have, you know, pains. When I get up out of bed, my body does some cracking noises. We're not gonna do some stretches and, you know, no, I'm just not gonna do it. I don't enjoy sledding anymore. It's okay. I'd rather stay home and knit. So that's what I'm gonna do. If they decide to go. If not, I'm just gonna stay home and knit anyway. So they still had school today because it's not gonna start snowing until maybe 2 or 3, and they'll be home before then. So my oldest daughter had an appointment this morning. My husband took her. There should be in there right now, 9 o'clock. Is it 9:07? 9:06 a.m. I'm early today because I have to go do some stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute here. So my daughter she had a yearly checkup a couple weeks ago, and they talked about her cat/dog allergy that she has somehow developed right after our cats passed away. So we had 2 cats. They were both here before the kids were born. One passed away in 2018. The other passed away in 2020. So then we were, you know, home for a year and a half, whatever it was. We went to, my in-laws have 3 cats. And Chloe has been having issues. She said she can't breathe. Stuffy. So we're like, oh, that's great. You're allergic to cats now. Somehow. I don't know. So we thought, well, maybe it's just cats. Well, then she went to someone else's house that had a dog. Same thing. So the doctor gave us a specialist, an allergy specialist. And my husband took her to that. So we'll see what they can do. Her pediatrician gave her an inhaler. We haven't used it yet. We were over there last weekend, but my husband said she didn't need it, so I don't know. Maybe the doctor said that she only needs it at night. I don't know. I was hoping that she would just get a stronger prescription for allergy medicine instead of the over-the-counter stuff that would work a little better, but the pediatrician did not give us that. She said, here's an inhaler. So, I don't know. So we'll see what this specialist says, because she's not allergic to anything else that we know of. It's just cats and dogs. So I don't know if they can do anything for her other than the inhaler or not. So I guess we'll just wait and see how that goes. So I've been stressing about that a little bit. You know, part of me wanted to, I talked to my husband about this, maybe not spending all day over there, because they also live an hour away from us. So I'm like, can we just usually we leave after breakfast and we come home we're at home by 8 or 9 o'clock. So I'm like, maybe can we eat lunch here and leave and be there for 4 or 5 hours instead of 12 or 10 or whatever it is? He didn't go for that, so I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe they can give her a special prescription that will work better than the over-the-counter stuff. She's been taking Allegra, the children's Allegra, the liquid allergy medicine. She says it kind of works, but not really. So I don't know. We've tried many brands of. We've tried Claritin. We've tried Benadryl that makes her drowsy. So I don't know. So that's that. And then this morning, like at 3:30 this morning, my brain decided, I woke up for some reason, and then my brain's like, hey, when's the last time you got your oil changed in your car? When was the last time you replaced your battery? And I'm like, oh man, I have no idea. I have no idea. So then I'm like thinking, I know it was summertime. There was one point, I looked it up. My husband has notes about when I got my last battery for my car. I do not drive very often, okay? I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know a lot about cars. I looked it up. My last battery that got replaced because it died was 2017. That's about 6 years. So now I'm paranoid to go anywhere with my car because I looked up on Google and it says you should change it 4 to 5 years. I haven't had any issues with it starting or anything like that, especially this winter. It's been starting fine. It's been running fine. So then I looked at my little sticker on my mirror about the oil change. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I'm gonna. Like I said, I do not go anywhere. I go to the grocery store, which is like maybe a mile from my house. I go to the library, which is like, it's about, is it like 10 miles away, 15 miles away from my house? I go there maybe once or twice a month. And then, do you know, my doctor appointment, which is one time a year, I have a couple doctor appointments. I don't go anywhere, okay? I do not go anywhere. So the tag, there's 2 numbers on it. There's the mileage and then there's the date. I thought that that they said, whichever one comes first, come get your oil change in. I think it says 3,000 miles, but I think I have like the older oil where I can go 5,000. Well, you know how long it would take me to get 5,000 miles? I'm not even at 3,000 yet, according to their tag. But it said 7/11/21. I haven't got my oil change since 21. So, with that major panic attack I had this morning, anxiety attack, panic attack, I don't know. And then after that, I couldn't sleep at all. So I'm going to be really tired today. I am going to go get my oil changed, and I'm going to have them check my battery. Part of me wants to say, I know it might be fine, but it's 6 years old. Can you please change it anyway? Because my last battery, it stressed me out so much because I had both kids with me. We went to the library. I had to get gas. I went to the library. We got our books. We came into the car and it died. So I was with 2 kids and my car just died. So I'm like, I don't want to do a repeat of that this summer. I don't. So I'm going to tell them that my battery is 6 years old, and I pray that they'll say, okay, we'll just change it, even though it's probably not really needed. Now that I know that it's 6 years old, I'm not going to want to go anywhere. I'm going to be paranoid that I'm going to get stranded somewhere. It's going to be summer. I'm going to get groceries. I'm going to have a bunch of like meats and frozen foods. My car's going to die, and I'm going to be stuck in there. Because my husband doesn't answer the phone because he's downstairs working, and I won't have Wi-Fi to send him an email to say, hey, please come get me. See, I bring a cell phone with me, but he doesn't answer the phone up here. So it's useless. The phone is useless unless I have like a number to call for a, tow truck. we used to have a AAA insurance, and they had the roadside service, which was nice, but I never used it, and then we switched. So I can't even like call them and say, hey, can you give me a jump? So I just have to walk home, and I'll have rotting stuff in my trunk of my car. You know, my brain just, it goes to bad places. Look, this is an hour. I need to end this. So I hope you enjoyed my ranty rant and how my brain works at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, where my thoughts go. I can't be the only one that does that. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to clean up my mess. I'm going to go do that right now. Cross your fingers for me that they don't say, ma'am. Are you aware this said you were supposed to come back in July 2021? 2 years without an oil change? Oh, my car probably really hates me. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do some adulting stuff and hate it all the way. I'll take my knitting with me, and I hope I won't be there for 3 hours. Cross my fingers. I'm going to do it before the snow comes too. It's like, oh, I can wait till Monday. You know, like, you know what? I'm not going to want to wait till Monday because I'm going to have this over my head all weekend. I'm going to be stressing out about it. I already lost 1 night of sleep. Let's just go do this and get it done. So I'm going to put my big girl pants on, and I'm going to go do some car stuff, some car maintenance, and hopefully that all goes well. It's like, yeah, let's just add to the pile of stress this week. It's okay. All right, I'm going to end this here. Wow, this is going to take forever to upload. Okay, that is all. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, put them right down there. I do love reading them. I don't have any questions for you, so write whatever you want. I do love reading them. And hopefully I will see you next week. Bye!